a great justice, a woman of valor, a rock of righteousness, and my good friend. And those are the things I thought she contributed. She made the world a better place for us to live in. So you think, oh dear. And then you think, thank you. And it will be a different place.
Justice Stephen Breyer remembering his friend and colleague Ruth Bader Ginsburg earlier today. NBC News has learned the president has decided to nominate Judge Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court. Her confirmation could mean a dramatic shift to the court that might have been prevented. The New York Times has new reporting on a 2013 lunch, a quiet one, between President Obama and Justice Ginsburg. The Times reports Obama did not directly bring up the subject of retirement, but Ginsburg did say, quote, raise the looming 2014 midterm elections and how Democrats might lose control of the Senate. Implicit in that conversation was the concern motivating his lunch invitation, the possibility that if the Senate flipped, he would lose a chance to appoint a younger liberal judge who could hold on to the seat for decades. Joining us now is Michael Beschloss, NBC News presidential historian. His latest work is Presidents of War. Michael, it's always good to see you, especially on a day like today. What do you make of that? What do you make of that New York Times reporting about that conversation between President Obama and Justice Ginsburg?
I assume it happened, and it's going to be up to Justice Ginsburg's biographer to tell us what was really going on in her mind, that she wanted to stay on the court and take the risk that there might be a Republican president. But it shows you how much a president who is aggressive can do to create vacancies on the court. Donald Trump has had 3 vacancies on this court, and all of them have been basically self-created by either him or Mitch McConnell. 2016, McConnell would not confirm Barack Obama's choice, Merrick Garland. 2018, by all accounts, Trump and the people around him prevailed on Justice Anthony Kennedy to get off the court, even talking to Kennedy's son, who, of all things, was Donald Trump's private banker at Deutsche Bank. And now, of course, the Republicans and the Republican president rushing this confirmation through if they can, so that we have a justice later in the process than almost ever before.
What will Justice, if she becomes Justice, Amy Coney Barrett do to the ideological makeup of the court? What could she mean for the court?
This court, unless something astounding happens, is about to lurch to the right in a big way. Probably the biggest ideological shift since the beginning of the 1970s, when Earl Warren, the great progressive Chief Justice, retired, and Richard Nixon got 4 vacancies to fill. And they weren't all filled with strong conservatives, by the way, so this could be even greater. And what's at stake? Abortion rights, all sorts of other kind of rights, Obamacare. There could be, God forbid, a contested election this November that goes to the Supreme Court, ultimately, as it did in 2000. I hate to think what would happen.
You know, I'm curious to think the reaction from the American public if the court does lurch to the right, as it could if she is appointed. The majority of Americans, just to take one issue, the majority of Americans support having legalized abortions. They support some caveats with it, but they support it being in existence. I mean, can you give us some historical perspective of what happens when a court is out of touch with the majority feeling of the American public?
It depends on who's on the court. If they're rigid ideologues, they will not care. 1930s, Franklin Roosevelt passed the New Deal, all these programs to help the American people who were suffering from the Great Depression. And the Supreme Court started striking a lot of these programs down as unconstitutional. So in 1937, Franklin Roosevelt said, the only way I can fix this and bring the court a little bit more in tune with America, which basically loved the New Deal by and large, is to do what was derisively called court packing, adding up to 5 new members of the Supreme Court that Roosevelt could appoint. Roosevelt was so frustrated, he tried to take that to the Senate, but the Senate found that proposal too radical, didn't let him do it.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.